What's going on, Washington fans? The season comes to an end in the NFC Championship game. Just a rough one. There's a lot that went wrong with this game. Not much good. To be honest with you, I don't even know where to start. The turnovers were just killer. The turnovers really are what put this game in just a really bad stretch for Washington. Getting the final numbers of the game now as we go live. Team stats. Let's look at it. The turnovers, like I said, 4 turnovers. They scored 4 touchdowns on those 4 turnovers. That's 28 points there. The Eagles still put up 55 points. 55-23 was the final. And the thing that is just glaring to me is the rush defense, which has been a struggle all season. The Eagles have 7 rushing touchdowns, which is just embarrassing. Tied for the most in a playoff game in NFL history with the 1940 Bears, who also beat Washington, but the score was 73-0 in the NFL championship game, which is unheard of that game even exists. But 7 rushing touchdowns. I mean, this team, I'll say this team was not supposed to be here at all. As much as I want to be super negative and stuff, like I said, no one thought we were going to be here. We weren't supposed to be here, but we fought for it and we earned the spot in the NFC Championship game. First year after one of the biggest rebuilds ever. I mean, I think they said there was 16 or 17 players from last year on the team this year. That is a glaring number. If you really think about what Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, and Josh Harris, and just the whole front office had to do to this roster to really compete this year. And of course, a lot of it goes on Jaden Daniels drafting the right quarterback. I mean, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. Top 5 in the league right now. But just think about what Josh Harris, Adam Peters, and Dan Quinn had to do with this team in the offseason to get here. The Eagles are just straight up the better team. There's no beating around it. Look at the roster. The Eagles on paper have the best roster in the NFL. I'm not saying the best quarterback. I'm not saying they have the best this position, but overall roster, they have the best roster in the NFL. So for Washington to win this game, it would have to come down to playing a perfect game. And they did the complete opposite. They played a very flawed game. We've done such a good job with turnovers and not turning the ball over and doing the opposite. If you watch the Lions game, getting these turnovers, making those big plays happen, we just could not do it today. 0 turnovers by the defense. 0. There's a couple opportunities there. I think Jalen Hurts, almost fumbled 2 snaps. That one on the tush push, he almost didn't get. There's a couple opportunities there, but still, the defense not being able to get those turnovers are killer. Yeah, overachieving season, but what a time to lay an egg. Eagles are a much better, deeper team. Absolutely. I mean, Saquon Barkley is obviously their best running back. The best running back in the league, hands down. And it showed. And I think that's one major thing that is missing from Washington so bad. And it has been for weeks. It's been missing for weeks, but they've done a really good job of being able to overcome that with Jaden Daniels. And once again, the leading rusher on the team is Jaden Daniels with 6 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown. B-Rob, 11 carries, 36 yards, no touchdowns. Austin Eckler, 8 carries, 15 yards, no touchdowns. Eckler had 5 catches, 17 yards. B-Rob literally had nothing else. And when it comes down to it, there's a lot of needs. And you're going to see me every single Wednesday this offseason, by the way, going live here on Bleach Report, talking about offseason needs and talk about the biggest topics with the team, free agency, draft. I'll be doing a lot of scouting and stuff like that. But, I mean, when it came down to it is they need a run game. They need a run game. Had plenty of money to do more and didn't. Secondary is trash. Online is trash. RB position is trash. LBs are old and slow. Payne and Allen overrated. So, I mean, I'm not mad at what you said, but when you think about it, there's only so much you can do in one off season. And, they went out and spent and got, traded for Marshawn Lattimore. And there's a conversation we're going to have about him in the offseason. There is a conversation, unfortunately, that we're going to have about Marshawn Lattimore. Like what the expectation is for next year. There's a lot of good this year. There's a lot of bad this year. We'll talk about that trade. We'll kind of revisit it and talk about the expectations for next year from Marshawn. But I'm not, I'm not disagreeing with you for one. But it's like I said, how much can you really rebuild in one off season? There's only so much you can do. And that's why I was surprised at how far we even got. Everyone was making fun of us for the Dan Quinn hire. In my opinion, he should be coach of the year. You can say what you want about Kevin O'Connell. I almost dropped the F-bomb. But Dan Quinn deserves that coach of the year award. But there's only so much you can do. Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz. People are like, what are they doing over there? We got Bobby Wagner. We got some big free agents. Frankie Louisville had a hell of a season. Shout out to Frankie. Screw loose Oos. I know he was doing some crazy stuff today, but he still had a good game. Like the plays that Louisville was making in the backfield, jumping, awesome. But when it comes down to it, the turnovers at the worst time possible. We have been playing our best ball ever since this, this win streak that we've been on. We've been playing really solid, just complete football. And the last loss was against the Cowboys the first time we played them, then beat the Titans, beat the Saints, beat the Eagles, beat the Falcons, beat the Cowboys, beat the Bucks, beat the Lions on the road, and just drop an L to the Eagles. We've been playing really just complete, disciplined football. That's another thing. The penalties, you can say what you want about Sean Hockley, just awful officiating. I will agree with you. Awful. Way awful. There's so many inexcusable things, and it was on both sides. I'm not going to sit here and say it was just one-sided, but there was a lot of big-time penalties and things that weren't called, but 9 penalties on Washington, 5 on Philly. But the turnovers, in my opinion, like it would have been different if it was a close game and defense was getting turnovers and making big stops and we weren't turning the ball over and the refs were kind of deciding it. It's more than that. It was just bad. The turnovers, it wasn't like, the one Jaden throw that got tipped around and Quignon caught whatever. But it wasn't like these were just really bad turnovers. It was just like ball security. It was just like stupid stuff, like De'Ami Brown trying to get extra yards. McNichols on the kickoff, like the fumble, like not covering the ball up. Austin Eckler, love him to death, but like trying to get up, then it just gets, peanut punched out. Just like stupid fumbles out of nowhere. That to me is what really surprised me, because that's something we haven't seen out of this team. Like I said, the Eagles are the best team. They have the best roster in the NFL. Like they should be the favorites to win the Super Bowl now. They added Saquon Barkley, who is just a gigantic piece, obviously, and they're going to ride him all the way to the Super Bowl, and they should win it. They should be favorites over the Chiefs or Bills. Whoever wins this game here, doesn't matter. They should be the favorites. I said like 3.5-point favorites by both of them. True, Payne and Allen sucks, but that's what we have, said Scott. So the thing is, I don't think they suck. I think it's just we wanted the seasons that they had, those contract years, we're getting like double-digit sacks and stuff like that. That's what people are actually like expecting. But when you pop on the tape, when it comes to like stopping the run in the inside, Allen and Payne do a good job. All of these runs, a majority of these runs are coming on the edge, not being able to set the edge. It is killer. It's not even just Saquon. Bijan did it. So many of these big runs that we've seen all season, it's come from the edge. And Dorn Armstrong's had a good season. And Dante Fowler has had a good season. But it's not about just getting to the quarterback. It's about stopping the run on the way to the quarterback. And that's something we don't do. So when I'm looking back and I'm going to dissect this roster down to the practice squad this offseason. Like, I'm not even kidding. And I am going to talk about fits. I'm going to talk about, these players and free agency and in the draft and how to really fix this. Yes, there's a conversation to be had about the interior D-line with Payne and Allen. Do they keep both of them next season? That's something to talk about. But the thing is, we can't set the edge with these edge defenders that we have right now. We aren't. And I agree with you with something. There's guys that aren't going to be like starting next year, like big time, especially on defense. I think there's some moving pieces to move around. We have to figure out what to do with corner. Are we going to move Samerstill into the slot and get another outside corner, whether it's in the draft or free agency, and then have Lattimore be that outside guy? But I mean, there is a lot of work to do. We got to see who's going to come back. We have a ton of free agents. We have like 2 wide receivers that aren't free agents next year with Terry and Luke. Ben Sinnott is the only tight end that's not a free agent next year. Lattimore's had some good, but he's had some really bad. Like, I'm not mad at any kind of Lattimore slander. The attitude, the like stupid boneheaded plays drives me nuts. I love the feistiness. I love the attitude, like what we saw with like Josh Norman, stuff like that. But by God, it makes no sense to me. I don't care who you're going up against. I don't care who they're like, what they're saying to you. Just be disciplined as a corner, man. Just do your job, throw the strap down, and keep it moving. Like, Lattimore is not going to be cut, mostly because we have him on a good deal. I think we're only paying him $18 million next year and $18.5 million the year after that. We've already traded for him. It is what it is. I think that Samerstill goes back in the slot because in-house, that's what they've wanted to do since they drafted him. It's just that they couldn't. Samerstill was better on the outside than Noah Igbenogany was on the outside. So they put Noah in the slot, and he actually did not too bad of a job. Can they improve? Absolutely. So I think they'll put Samerstill back in the slot, and then I think they'll get another outside corner. Like I said, maybe it's somebody in the draft, maybe it's somebody in free agency, maybe like a Charvarius Ward from the 49ers. Go bring him over here. He wants to leave anyways. Adam Peters knows him. I would love Ward and Lattimore on the outside and the Samerstill in the slot. I think that helps a bunch. But, I mean, you're not wrong, too, with the pass rush. We are most effective. And you can say this for a lot of defenses. When we were getting to Jalen Hurts, like, just remember the first game we played and then even this game. When we were getting to Jalen Hurts and causing him to throw these balls away and throw these, inaccurate passes, stuff like that, that is where we thrive. That can be said about every defense. If there's no pass rush and the quarterback is just sitting in the pocket for like 3 or 4 seconds, of course they're going to find open guys. Eventually, you cannot, and this is like a rule of thumb, you cannot expect a DB to cover a wide receiver, a tight end, or running back for more than like 3 or 4 seconds. Like, that's just rule of thumb. Eventually, somebody's going to be open, whether it's in a zone or if it's man, it does not matter. You have to get to the quarterback. You have to draw their eyes down. You got to get pressure. You have to. But I think this game today really showed a lot of flaws on this roster when it comes down to, once again, not having an effective rusher. Like, we literally saw Brian Robinson run the ball, and then we had to see Saquon Barkley run the ball. Night and day difference. I love B-Rob. He's an Alabama guy. I'm an Alabama guy at heart. Roll Tide. But after those injuries, his legs are not the same. He is a, churn like butter with his legs, physical, contact balance, kind of running back. And once your legs, he had 3 different leg injuries this year. Once you start getting those, the juice has just been drained out of them. The juice is just drained out of them. And you got to have a running back that can make a big play like Saquon. It's not even just Saquon. King Henry, Josh Jacobs, like the year of the running back is back. Like, after everyone's like, running backs don't matter, blah, 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 blah. It's a passing league. I'm glad this year running backs show that they still do matter. Without Daniels, y'all are a 500 team. I'm not disagreeing. That just shows how amazing Jaden Daniels was this season. And it's not like we're sitting here saying this team is amazing, this roster is loaded. No one has ever said that. Show me one Washington fan that sat there and said, this roster is loaded. We have all said, this is the worst roster Jaden Daniels will ever play on while he's a Washington Commander. I can promise you that. Him and Terry have been the entire offense, and I'll sprinkle in some Zach Ertz. Shout out to Zach Ertz. 11 catches, 104 yards today, but he's made some big-time catches. And I know, like, Jaden Daniels has elevated some of these other receivers, like De'Ami Brown, who's had a big playoff run, like Lamine Zaccheaus, Jamison Crowder, but no one has been saying that this is just a really good team. This is a really good roster. No, everyone is saying what Jaden Daniels is doing right now has never been done before. Ever. Shout out to the Washington Cup. Stay hydrated. No one, show me one person that's a Washington fan that said, man, this team's loaded with talent. They should win the Super Bowl. Nobody. It's sad because I love B-Rob, but we need a better primary back. Absolutely. And this is the best running back class I've ever seen. This is the worst running back free agency I've ever seen. This is the best running back draft class ever. Ever. It's going to be all about gaps. Do they want to zone, like run primarily zone? Do they want to run a lot of gap schemes? They kind of mixed it up in the second half of the season. They were doing a good bit of gap and zone in the run game, but it was just Jaden Daniels, once again, he is the running game. JD5 is like the guy that dates a 5 and makes her look like a 10. Pretty much. No one was expecting anything out of Lamine Zaccheaus, De'Ami Brown, and Jamison Crowder, or John Bates. And people were writing off Zach Ertz this season. Everyone's like, why is Zach Ertz? Like, that was their first signing. It happened on like a random Tuesday. Like, it was like, oh yeah, by the way, they're signing Zach Ertz to a 1-year deal. Everyone's like, oh, okay, whatever. But no one expected anything out of this team. It's just been Jaden Daniels has been that good this season. The best, even I don't care how this game looked. I don't care if we would have lost 100-0. It doesn't matter. This was the best rookie year by a quarterback of all time. On all time. Congrats to the Eagles and fans. Y'all better win because your window is closing and ours is just opening. Can we draft a kicker? Sure. It's boring to talk about, but I'll talk about it. This is a really good draft for kickers. I'm not saying draft one, but you can also sign one. There's a lot of really good kickers in college this year. Like I said, it's not the sexiest thing to talk about. It's not exciting, but there's some really good kickers here. But I saw a comment up there said, why should we be mad? This is a good one. Why should we be mad? The roster is going to get even better. This is year one. Exactly. The roster is only getting stronger. And I don't know if y'all saw the video on Fox before the game, but Dan Quinn was sitting down in like a preview they did like earlier this week or whatever. And he said, like, this is not even our ceiling. Like, we're just getting stronger. We're just getting stronger. And that's what excites me. Does this game suck? Absolutely. Does this hurt? Yes. But guys, look at what was possible after 1 year. After selling the team, after rebuilding, completely revamping the front office, completely revamping the coaching staff. Tell me a head office and coaching position that we did not change. Besides, like, Pritchett, the quarterback coach. That's the only thing I can think of. And the Chiefs just scored. Tell me one front office member or one coach that was here last year, like I said, besides Pritchett, who's the quarterback coach. You can't. We changed everything. Let Allen walk and keep Payne. They're both kind of mid. I don't think they're both mid. I'm telling y'all, if y'all actually just watch like film, they're much better than what they get credit for. Can they play better? Absolutely, yes. They should be held to a high standard. Very high standard. Joe Witt, I don't know how to feel about him. I don't know how to feel about Witt. I like his philosophy. I like what he wants to do. I like how he wants to play defense. But what I saw today, seven rushing touchdowns, is inexcusable. I don't care if it's Pee-wee. I don't care if it's middle school football, JV, varsity, whatever. 7 rushing touchdowns is unheard of. 229 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. That is so bad. I blame the defense. I blame the offense. It's just as a whole, they did not play a good game today. This surprised me. I expected this to be a dog fight. And there was a couple players that were fighting. Like I said, shout out to Ertz. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to Louvu. Shout out to Jaden Daniels. Like, outside of that, I don't know who else I'm like, hey, they had a hell of a game. I don't know. We only had 2 sacks. Frankie Louvu had a sack, and Dorrance Armstrong had a sack. I feel like we should have had more, especially with Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens being banged up. I hate the tush push. I think the tush push is stupid. I think they do need to ban it. I think it's embarrassing. It's so bad. That's the stupidest thing. And then the refs coming in saying that they're threatening to just award the Eagles with a touchdown. I've never seen that before. Threatening, saying, hey, if you jump off sides one more time. First off, ban that stupid-ass play. Make the Eagles run a real football play. That's not a legal formation. And we don't have to worry about that. And, like, Louvu jump in. I'm not even mad at that. Like, shout out to Louvu. They stopped it in that 1 2-point conversion. But it wasn't like it was already, 2nd and goal. He can keep jumping. It's not doing anything. It's not like an automatic first down or whatever every time. Like, I'm not mad at Louvu at all. Like, they're calling him a dirty player and all this, but you got Jalen Carter poking Tyler Biadasz in the eyes, like, on an encroachment, and he got a 5-yard penalty. They didn't get any penalties for literally just sticking his hand in his face mask and poking him in the eye. I wasn't even mad at the San Francisco late hit. Saquon Barkley's, like, lowering his shoulder. It's Saquon Barkley. He's not, like, he wasn't even out of bounds yet. Like, I wasn't even mad at Sanders still. What are you going to do? Just being like, Barkley hurled a guy backwards this year. You think he's not capable of spinning back in bounds or doing something crazy? I'm not even mad at that. Like, if I'm the coach, I'm like, Mikey, do it again next time. I don't care. Hit him. I thought that was such a soft call. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just it was losing football. LL Cool J said, we just got beat by a better team. We was playing with house money roster wise. We have cap space and some draft capital. We're gonna be just fine. What a season, fellas. It's only just begun. Let's come back next year even better. We hurt ourselves. Too many turnovers. I might as well leave this comment up. This is how I feel. I appreciate this comment because it's real. Going into this game, once again, I kind of started out the stream with this. I don't know who all was here. Hey, I'll say, Tressway, that threat on my boy Ben, that was nasty. That was a good play. We ain't really had to use Tress for a lot of the season as much as we go for on 4th down, but that was a heck of a throw. Tress gets a game ball for that one. Yes. But I mean, going into this game, like, the whole world knew Philly has the better team. That's not a secret. Philly has built this just loaded roster top to bottom. They've been aggressive. They draft really well. I'm going to give them their credit. I'm going to give them, kudos for how they have built their team. It is not a secret that the Eagles have been the better team. I'll say they, especially with all the injuries in Detroit, they are clearly the best team in the NFC. And I think the best team in the NFL. That is not a secret. It's not breaking news that the Eagles had a better team than us. But we all knew that Washington would have to play a perfect game to win this game. And it was possible. We weren't like going into this like, oh, we're going to lose. Oh, great. No, we felt good about this because anything is possible when you have Jaden Daniels at quarterback. We've seen that so much this year. But what excites me is just knowing that this is what we can do with this roster. I'm serious, y'all. Imagine one big off season. Guys, we have so much money to spend in free agency. There were free agents before the trade deadline saying to their agents, I want to go to Washington. I've never seen that before in my life. We were getting leftover scraps, and we had guys before the trade deadline even happened. Adam Schefter said, oh, yeah, by the way, agents are being told by their players that they want to go to Washington. There's going to be a lot of big name players available this offseason if their teams don't get things right. Myles Garrett, Max Crosby might be one, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf. There is a lot of big time names this offseason. That's what excites me. Does this game suck? Yes, but guys, rip the Band-Aid off. We got to get over it. We have to get over it. This game sucked. Everything bad that could have happened possibly happened. But let's get over it. No one thought we were going to be here. If I would have asked you before the season, hey guys, we're going to be in the NFC Championship game, but we're not going to win. We're going to lose pretty bad. You'd be like, I don't care. Jaden Daniels gets us to the NFC Championship. Holy smokes. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it sucks even more because it's the Eagles. Yes, it sucks because Saquon Barkley had 3 touchdowns. Quinton Mitchell had an interception. We played bad. We had 3 turnovers. Guys, it's time to get to work. It is time to get to work. Jay Walker, I appreciate it. Appreciate the positive feedback. Love the post-game show. It's been cool. I'm going to be here, like I said, in the offseason. Usually it's been like, we don't do too much. I am here year long now. Every Wednesday, I'll be going live here. I don't know the time yet, probably about 4 o'clock Eastern time. Every Wednesday, talking about the biggest subjects, talking about, free agency, draft, position overhauls, looking at the rosters, coaching, whatever. I will be here to talk about it. So I appreciate it. Miles, please. I would love Miles. Parsons probably got another offseason for that, but he definitely wants to be here. Definitely wants to be here. Ambino said, yep, a bunch of dudes that are about to work at Enterprise. Pretty much summed it up. I think that, there, like I said, it's not like we're going to have a giant overhaul like we did this past offseason, but you're still going to see a lot of changes. I think you're going to see a lot of changes on the D-line, inside and outside. This is just kind of looking ahead, inside and outside. Running game is going to get a massive overhaul. I think you'll see some overhaul in the offensive line, and something that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. I did a quick video on my YouTube channel, JTFB. Check it out. Subscribe to it because I'm going to be doing content here and there all offseason, every single day. I did a quick video about Sam Cosmi. Sam Cosmi's probably not going to be back until mid-season next year. That's not good. That is not good. We don't know the extent of the torn ACL, but looking, timeline-wise, it's not. I would be shocked if it's beginning of the season. Shocked. I would be stunned if it's by week 4, week 5. I think Cosmi's out until like week 6, 7, 8, which is not good. We need Biotish to get healthy. We've got to really move some pieces around that offensive line. I already have a list of guards I want to sign a free agency to fill that same Cosmi hole while we have to. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Appreciate you, Hambino. Follow me on social media too, on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB. I'm very active on there. Don't worry. Very active. You follow me on Instagram if you want. And I'm actually going to the Senior Bowl tomorrow. Like, the offseason starts right now for me. I'm headed to Mobile, Alabama tomorrow for the Senior Bowl to scout players and find the next Commanders. I'm getting to work tomorrow. I'm going to be boots down in Mobile, Alabama. The YouTube channel, just type in Josh Taylor FB or just JTFB, like my little logo at the bottom. You'll see it. It's time to get to work. I was at the Senior Bowl last year, and I told Ben Sinat, I was like, we're going to draft you. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah, because you fit what we want to do. And sure enough, we drafted him. And he caught a heck of a ball here. I expect him to have a bigger season next year, take off. But we got to look at free agents. We got to look at who we have coming back. I think the biggest date to remember is March 12th, I want to say, is free agency. It's either like 10th or the 12th or something like right there. Peters is about to get to work. Adam Peters, I know he's going to be at the Senior Bowl too. I'm going to try to get some Adam Peters time for y'all. Last year I met him right when we hired him. Dan Quinn, we had just hired Dan Quinn at the end of the Senior Bowl. I don't think he was there. I didn't see him there, but I saw Adam Peters and I saw a lot of our scouts. I'm going to try to get some Adam Peters time. March 10th. I think that's like when we start to finally hear that a lot of the deals happen. Then March 12th is like the hard free agency day, but we start to hear everything on March 10th. Chiefs are up 7-3. Bills just kicked a field goal. So we're going to have that conversation about Witt. We're going to have a conversation about the defense. But overall, I mean, we can talk about how the turnovers put the defense in bad positions too. Like that's a real conversation too. I'm not going to be one-sided on everything. Aspirin Syndrome said Louisville and Same are still the only defensive players. We should keep everyone else gone. Good to have you back, Aspirin Syndrome. We lost you for a little bit. You're back to the toxicity, and I love it. I love it. Louisville and Same are still, in my opinion, beasts. I don't necessarily disagree with you because I don't think anyone is untouchable. I think Bobby Wagner, I would love to get one more season of Bobby Wagner. I would love to run back that linebacker group of Bobby Wagner and Louisville just one more season. Louisville's going to be here for a while, but Bobby, I think, has one more year in him. But then, like, Chen's a free agent. We got to figure out what to do with those corners. We got to figure out what to do with the defensive line inside and outside. Fowler's a free agent. I think we see some changes. I really do. And I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I'm excited, but I am. Diami sucks, Eckler. Hey, don't talk about my boy Eck. I love my boy Eck. That was a bad fumble today, not going to lie. But he did prove a lot of people wrong this season. But, I mean, just listen to this. Listen to how the game started. They scored a touchdown. I mean, after that first drive, I was like, yo, if we do that 4 times but we score touchdowns, we have a ball game. But we just couldn't do that. They scored a touchdown. Fumble by us, touchdown by them. Field goal by us, they missed a field goal. Touchdown by us, touchdown by them. Fumble on the kickoff, touchdown by them. Field goal, end of half. They punted twice. Punt, touchdown by them, touchdown by us. Punt by them, fumble by us, they got a touchdown. Turnover on downs, 8 plays, 2 minutes later, touchdown by them. Interception, touchdown by them. That's first off, once again, you're putting them in a really good field position, especially plays like that kickoff where they're already in good field position. So you're already stressing out your defense so much. Like, hey, guys, we know they just scored a touchdown, but we're going to turn the ball over and give them the chance to do it again. So, I mean, it was just losing football on both sides. The offense, the non-existent run game has killed us. What running backs are you looking into? Because we definitely need a speed guy. For me, like I said, it's all about fit. It's going to be if they want to run more gap run zone, like zone scheme, gap run schemes or zone run schemes. They were pretty much a lot of gap heavy in the beginning of the season, and they kind of switched to gap with some zone mixed in there. But if you want a home run guy like Amarion Hampton out of North Carolina, obviously Ashton Genty's a first round guy. But I think Amarion Hampton's a guy that you really like. Johnson out of Iowa's a guy I really like. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee is a guy I think would really fit here. I think my favorite fits, I would say Sampson, Johnson out of Iowa, and then Travion Henderson. I really do like Quinshon Judkins too. I'm kind of worried about his home run speed. I think he's like a 3rd round guy, maybe up into the 2nd. Or Cam Scatterbo, if you just want a guy that's going to run people over and just a straight dog. Cam out of Arizona State was killing guys, especially Texas. Like, I love the way he plays. So, but like I said, edge, corner, wide receiver is one of the biggest needs for me too. Wide receiver, massive. And I don't really like this wide receiver class. I think best case is trading for a DK. I know people are going to hate it, but trading for a Tyreek Hill, a speed guy. Trading for, obviously, Garrett Wilson would be fantastic. But like I said earlier, there's some big names that are going to be available this free agency. And players are going to want to come here because we have the money. We have the roster. We have everything lined up. I know, Range, you want KJ. I would love KJ. I think he would be a really good fit for how we are going to run this offense. I think Dylan Sampson's one of my favorites. This is the time of year where, like I said, I'm going to be at the Senior Bowl tomorrow. Guys are going to show out there. And if y'all remember, Quinyon Mitchell was the talk of the Senior Bowl there. I was like, yo, this guy's for real. This is the time of year where people, the draft board, like really shifts around a lot. Like we'll see a lot of movement. That's something I'm going to talk about a lot. If y'all know me, scouting and draft talk and free agency, like this is my bread and butter, mostly because this is the only thing we've had. We don't win on the field. Now we do. So we get to mix in. We get to really talk this offseason about how to keep this winning going and really just rebuild the roster. Because you could just tell there's still some guys on this team that don't really fit what they want to do. They were just trying, they're trying to make a high quality product. I hate to say this, just with some low quality material. Like building a house out of hay. We got to get some bricks up in here. Sorry, I'm getting my phone blowing up right now. I'm trying to see if there's any updates post game too. If there's any notes or any, I guess, press conference stuff. And I pretty much mute everything that I can because I don't like getting updates and stuff throughout the game. But Savion Williams, so yeah, he was supposed to be at the Senior Bowl, but I think he pulled out. I don't know why. But he's huge. Dude out of TCU. Savion would be nice. There are some wide receivers I like in this draft class, but it's just not nearly as good. Not nearly. I mean, you're either going to find somebody in like the third round that hits, but you can't really depend on like that first round guy. I think I like Egbuka. Some people don't like him. I like Emeka Egbuka. And everyone I talk to says he's like a highly graded, high class, just that's the kind of guy you want to draft. Kind of like Terry. I mean, not just because they went to Ohio State, but people like Emeka Egbuka is like the kind of guy you just really, really want to draft and be on your team. Like he reminds me of a Terry. Not just saying style-wise, but personality-wise. He really fits. Matthew Golden out of Texas is a guy that's really shot up this last few weeks. This is a guy that people didn't think would declare. Now he's getting first-round talks just because of how bad this wide receiver class is. I'd get him in the first round too. I'm really high on Trey Harris out of Ole Miss if he can stay healthy. A couple of things he needs to work on. I've seen him in the first. I've seen him in the third. So for me, he's all over the place too. Just talking about wide receivers. Yeah, Cam Scattergood is not that fast, but he just runs people over. He's really good in pass blocking. He's just a straight dog. Like once again, if you remember Arizona State, especially like I said in the playoffs against Texas, just watching that game, dude just gave us all. Those are the kind of players that GMs just want to draft. They're like, this is a guy who will just go all out for the team, do anything for the team. He will catch passes. He can break tackles. He is elusive for his size and as like compact as he is. He surprised me with a lot of his runs. Range said, I feel like we could trade out of the first. I feel like it too. I feel like that's definitely a possibility. Maybe get, an extra third back, something like that. Depends. It just depends on how the board falls, honestly. Ollie Gordon the third, he's going to be at the Senior Bowl. Him and Damian Martinez are two guys who had really high expectations going into this season. And I think Christian Benford for the Bills just got hurt. But two guys that had really high expectations for the season that just didn't have the best years, kind of quiet. Ollie Gordon didn't really look the same. But I mean, Oklahoma State was not good. And Martinez, it wasn't like they had a bad, I don't want to say he had a bad season because he actually looked good when I was watching him. I still have to watch like the whole thing. But I thought he played better than I thought he did. But I mean, they had Cam Ward, like they were throwing it a lot. Xavier Restrepo is another wide receiver I think would really fit here. Kind of depend if you want to put him in the slot or what. Let me see. I saw some other ones here. Yep, I want the offensive tackle from Ohio State, Josh Simmons. So I've been talking to my guy Donovan, played offensive line in college, and he's a big Ohio State fan. He likes Simmons. I am stuck on what to do with this offensive line. I like Brandon Coleman. I know we got him in the third, But if you can get a really good like franchise left tackle like a Josh Simmons, maybe Donovan Jackson, depends if you want him at left tackle, left guard. Ariante Irsay or Josh Connolly out of Oregon, one of those guys. It's not that good of an offensive tackle class. It's a really bad guard class. Interior offensive line, ugly in the draft. There's a couple of guys in the first, maybe the second, that have some upside to them, though. I'm just not sure if offensive tackle is the way that they go. Coleman's a backup. I mean, I would hate that because I don't know. Maybe you kick him out to right guard while Cosme's out, and Simmons would play left tackle, or whoever you get left tackle. I don't know if you keep Wiley at right tackle or what the move would be. Like, do you really get two guys on the offensive line? Do you get three? Jack out of Ohio State for the edge. Jack Sawyer. Yeah, I like Jack. I think he had a heck of a run at the end. Beginning was kind of quiet, and then he just really took off. Alex Leatherwood's better than Coleman. Oof, I don't know about that. Leatherwood sucks. And that's coming from an Alabama fan. Ty Felton, I like him out of Maryland. He's going to be a late round guy. Good story. I think he tore his ACL, bounced back, looked really good this season. Is it me, or is Lattimore average? If that, we need DBs. I want to see a full Lattimore. I don't want to say off season because that's just it's a long time. I just wish we would have gotten more sample. I wish he would have just healthy when he got here. And we didn't have these streaks of oh, he's healthy, always hurt. Now he has to play Mike Evans, always hurt. Now he's playing AJ Brown, now he's hurt again. I just wanted a stretch of just consistent play of him. Sign Trey Smith, definitely an option. I say Trey Smith, and who's the other one? Ronnie Stanley from the Ravens is one. I know he's older, but maybe a year or two stopgap. Like I said, I have a list of right guards. I'm gonna be dropping all kinds of videos, guys. This offseason, y'all are gonna see a different Josh, the Jaden Daniels version of Josh. I'm going crazy this offseason. Not only here on Bleacher Report, but on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, and then on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it because I'm not going to be on here every day, but I will be on there pretty much every single day. JTFB, or just search at Josh Taylor FB or JTFB channel. That's my @ name. I'm going to do stuff all the time. I'm not usually on here this long post game too. There's so much to talk about. Yes, the game sucked. DJ Reed, yeah, he wants to be here, but he's really going to be a slot guy. So if you get DJ Reed, then that means Samerstill is going to have to be on the outside still. And I just don't think that's what they want to do. I think there's a better chance of getting a Charward from the 49ers on the outside and putting Samerstill back inside. There's some outside guys I really like in free agency. The draft, the ones I like Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame, season-ending injury. My guy, Savone Revel, ECU, I'm going to talk to him. He had a season-ending injury. So it's just some question marks there. Outside of them, maybe a Jade Barron. I think both of the DNs from the Chargers will be available. I would take either. So that's something I've been thinking about too. Everyone called Khalil Mack washed. He actually had one of his best seasons this year. Really good. What was it? 2 years ago, he took a step down. But over the last 2 seasons, especially this season, he had a heck of a season. I was just looking at his numbers and his PFF grade and everything. And I'm not going to base everything off of PFF, but it does give me a standard because this is the kind of work I do, data analysis, watching the film, recording stats and grades and stuff like that. It gives me an understanding of what to expect. He was actually the second best DN in the NFL in run defense. Second out of 211 DNs. He had an overall grade of 90.4. That's fifth out of 211 DNs. Khalil Mack had a hell of a season. Hell of a season. He had 7 sacks, 23 stops, 34 hurries, 8 hits, 6 batted passes, which is first, 49 total pressures this season. That is insane. That is insane numbers. He played 617 total snaps. So we kind of rotated in because they had some young guys behind there. But Khalil Mack had a crazy season. He's 33 years old, but he does not look like it. That's a guy I'm definitely going to be talking about this offseason because it seems like he's gone. I could see Bosa being gone too. But Khalil Mack, second run defense among every edge rusher in the NFL, fifth overall grade out of 211 edge rushers in the NFL. Crazy. 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, which was 8th, 24 solo tackles. I mean, just a big time season by Mack. So for me, it comes down to run game, stopping the run on defense and then actually being able to run the ball on the offense. So I'm going to wrap this up, y'all. Appreciate y'all coming through here on Bleacher Report. Like I said, follow me on social media at Josh Taylor FB on Twitter, X, whatever you call it. Same with here on Bleacher Report. I'm going to start posting some more stuff here on my profile, but I will be live every single Wednesday this off season. And like I said, I'm headed to the Senior Bowl literally tomorrow. Any Jalen Carter's in the draft? I don't know. Jalen Carter's top 3 interior D tackle already in the league. But there are some good interior D tackles in this class. I'll talk about that too. Don't worry. Like I said, I'm headed to Mobile tomorrow. So if y'all want to follow along for all that notes and stuff like that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram at Josh Taylor FB, as in like football. And then same with YouTube. Highly recommend following the YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a lot of draft breakdowns, draft interviews, free agency. I can't talk to any players in free agency, but I'll definitely talk to some NFL draft prospects. I already had a bunch lined up. Especially, like I said, at the Senior Bowl, I'll be interviewing players and stuff like that, talking about practice. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. This sucks. This absolutely sucks. But just realize what this was. A heck of a season when nobody saw this coming. No one knew what to expect. Best rookie quarterback of all time. Top 5 quarterback in the league. He's 5. I'm taking him over Herbert. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Jaden Daniels. You can switch up the top 4. I don't care what you do. But Jaden Daniels better be 5. We got a lot of work to do. Free agency, draft. I'm going to hit those heavy until April. Obviously, free agency is like March, but still. Guys, we have to get to the Super Bowl. Today was not the Super Bowl, but it's coming. Y'all see this? We're getting back to that. This is the new norm. This is the new standard. It's not, oh, guys, let's make the playoffs next year. Let's make sure we have our quarterback. We are done with that. That door has been kicked down. We moved out of the shack we've been living in. Now we live in a penthouse. We're not about making the playoffs. We're about winning in the playoffs. We're about getting the 1 seed. We're about getting the NFC East Championship. We are about getting to the Super Bowl next year. And that's all I'm going to talk about this offseason. How to win the NFC East. How to win the Super Bowl. That is all you're going to hear me talk about this offseason. No loser crap. No, oh, we need it. None of that crap. It is a tough schedule next year. I don't care. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. That's what they said. And that's what I'm living by. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.